Hello and welcome to another retrospective video of an iconic adventure game. You can find a lot of videos about adventure games in my channel, like the full history videos about Space Quest, King's Quest, Gabriel Knight, Leisure Suit Larry, Loom, Grim Fandango, and many more. You can also find a 2-hour documentary on the history of the genre with the rise and fall of the adventure games. If you like the content of my channel, please consider supporting it by subscribing and turning on the notifications for it. You can also consider supporting me by becoming a member of my YouTube channel. There is one membership tier and you will have a lot of benefits like exclusive updates on upcoming videos, you get to watch each new video earlier, you get to decide the topic of upcoming videos, and also member exclusive giveaways that will follow. The game we are going to cover in this video is a standalone one and of the later years of Lucasfilm adventure game development. The Dig was released in the mid-90s at a time when the company was trying to evolve its games both with regards to technology and narrative to attract older audiences. Along with Full Throttle that was released the same year, the company took a more somber and mature approach in the themes utilized in their games. Along with that, Lucasfilm Games was trying to give a cinema-like feeling to its games by taking a development approach that resembled filmmaking and bringing on board key figures of television and the movie industry. Hollywood actors were also brought in for the voice acting of the Dig. That approach was also depicted both in the teaser advertisement it used before the game's release, but also in the magazine ads they created for the print media of the time. The development of the Dig has its own fair share of problems, as the above-mentioned transition in game design philosophy caused a lot of internal issues that we will see later. The Dig is a point-and-click adventure game developed by LucasArts and released in 1995 in CD-ROM for the PC and Macintosh computers. It was based on an idea for an episode in Steven Spielberg's Amazing Stories TV show that ran on American television from 1985 to 1987. The story begins showing a radio telescope in Borneo. It picks up a signal from outer space showing a massive asteroid dubbed Attila by the authorities, which was on a collision course with Earth. An emergency meeting takes place where scientists propose to plant massive explosives on the asteroid to alter its course so that it doesn't strike the planet. A group of 5 is selected for the expedition, helmed by Commander Boston Lowe. The team flies the space shuttle Atlantis and successfully manages to land on Attila. There, they discover that the asteroid is hollow and there are remnants of a sentient alien civilization. When they set the charges, they come across a chamber. Upon entering, the asteroid transforms into a pod and accelerates into deep space, ending up in an alien planet where there are clear signs of civilization. The Dig plays out as a typical point-and-click adventure game. It utilizes the established SCUMM engine and specifically its latest iteration that supported full-screen gameplay and not the typical verb action commands. The player uses the mouse cursor to look or interact with people, objects, and other parts of the environment. The cross cursor is also used to collect and use items in their inventory and talk to non-player characters. This was the second game to use this version of the SCUMM interface after Full Throttle of the same year. The Dig had by far the longest development time of all LucasArts adventure games. Its story was initially conceived by Steven Spielberg for an episode in his Amazing Stories TV show, but it was dropped due to the required increased budget. The team that eventually made that idea into an adventure game first met in 1989 and comprised of Spielberg, George Lucas, Ron Gilbert, and Noah Falstein, whose work on another LucasArts adventure game, Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, had impressed Steven Spielberg. However, the game was not released until 6 years later. The game's plot was written by Steven Spielberg, author Orson Scott Card, and Brian Moriarty, the creator of Loom. Another Lucas company, Industrial Light and Magic, was responsible for the game's visuals. During its lengthy development, there were 4 consecutive project leaders, starting with Falstein, followed by Brian Moriarty, then Dave Grossman, and finally by Sean Clark. When Moriarty took over from Falstein, he scrapped the project and started from scratch. His idea was of a more bloody and mature-oriented game. However, Spielberg was hesitant mostly due to the fact that adventure games still had a large younger audience that may end up playing, causing a possible backlash from parents, like in the case of the first Jurassic Park movie, where parents ignored the PG-13 rating and brought their kids to cinemas. Moriarty left the project and Sean Clark took over during the later stages of the game's development. A novelization was written by science fiction author Alan Dean Foster in conjunction with the game's development. The soundtrack was crucial to the game's atmosphere and was composed by Michael Land. Famous Hollywood actors were hired for the game's voice acting. Most notable is Robert Patrick, who played T-1000 in the second Terminator movie. All the above delays and changes, along with the Hollywood movie level of production, caused the game to become one of LucasArts' most expensive game projects to date. It was finally released in CD-ROM version for the PC and Macintosh computers in November of 1995, even though it was originally announced for release in 1992. The game was praised for its visuals, voice acting and story, but was criticized for its extremely difficult puzzles. Still though, it managed to sell over 300,000 copies. However, its extremely high production budget required sales of several million copies to break even. Since the game failed to reach those sales levels, it was perceived as a commercial failure by the company's management. After its release, and the cult following it gained in later years, there were several rumors about a possible sequel or even making the story into a film. Unfortunately, none of those rumors ever materialized. That was the full history of The Dig, an adventure game that was developed on a grand scale and budget to resemble Hollywood blockbuster films. LucasArts released it during a time where they were trying to change their production levels to evolve the medium and the genre as a whole. The Dig proved ahead of its time as the market back then, and especially larger audiences, were not still accustomed to treat video games as a mainstream narrative or entertainment medium. Do not forget to watch my many retrospectives on iconic franchises like Loom, King's Quest, Space Quest, Gabriel Knight and more. You can also find my 2-hour documentary on the rise and fall of the genre. If you like the content of my channel, please consider supporting it by subscribing and turning on the notifications for it to know when a new video is up. You can also consider supporting me by becoming a member of my YouTube channel. There is one membership tier and you will have a lot of benefits like exclusive updates on upcoming videos, you get to watch each new video earlier, you get to decide the topic of upcoming videos, and also member exclusive giveaways that will follow. We will have the next episode soon. Thank you all for watching.